Welcome back, everyone. Today, Alex and I are discussing the nature of time in the recruiting process and how leaders should approach time management in this crucial area. Alex, you mentioned wanting to explore this topic. Can you start by explaining why time is such a critical factor in recruiting?
I think that time is critical because for a number of obvious reasons, right? We only have a certain amount of time in the day. We have something like goal for our recruiting project. Maybe it's to hire by some date. We've got a limited amount of time between we start a project and end a project or need to end a project. The time is our number one constraint. But I don't think that's the most important aspect of time. I think the most important mindset around time is the recognition that when it comes to recruiting, spending more time recruiting does not necessarily mean better results. In fact, I think that you can spend more time on recruiting and get worse results. And I think that the argument I would make is that there's an entirely different way to look at time, given that assumption.
That's a really interesting point, Alex. So, if I understand you correctly, while time is a crucial and limited resource in the recruiting process, the key isn't just about the quantity of time spent, but rather the quality and efficiency of how that time is used. Can you elaborate on how leaders should shift their mindset regarding time to achieve better recruiting results?
Well, my focus is not on like maximizing efficiency or effectiveness of the time. I think the real key thing about recruiting that is up there in terms of aha moments, total like breakthrough when you get this, your whole way, like the way you do business will change, is that recruiting is not about time spent, it's about timing. It's about you cannot predict when the candidates or when the talented people that you want to have join your team are going to grow frustrated enough with whatever their existing career gap is that they're going to pick their head up and start looking around for another opportunity. So it's about recognizing that we can't predict those times that's going to happen. We can't predict when people are going to be considering making a change. But what we really want to do is we want to be there at that moment when they make that change, when they're ready to make that change.
That's a really fascinating perspective, Alex. So it's less about the amount of time you spend recruiting and more about being present and ready at the right moment when potential candidates are open to making a change. It's about aligning your recruiting efforts with those critical moments when talent is available. How can leaders position themselves to be there at the right time? What strategies do you think are effective in ensuring they are in the right place at the right moment?
What we've done is we've set up systems to basically to identify and predict when somebody might be interested in making a move. For example, there might be shakeups in a project management office that would affect the interest of project managers in making a move, or there might be a ownership transition between a multi-generational ownership transition in a small business, or there might be an acquisition that would affect how teams are thinking about their jobs. Those are different places that we know predict that someone is likely to be thinking about making a change. And so we want to metaphorically throw our line in the water when we see those kinds of indicators. And then I think the other thing that's really important is that when we recognize that recruiting is not about time spent, but timing, then that allows us to think about how we're growing our team and accept it as a constraint. So we're not misallocating or wasting resources spent on recruiting and rather positioning ourselves to make do with the reality that we might not be able to hire somebody right now for a role. So maybe we need to rethink the nature of the role. Maybe we need to rethink how we're going to solve whatever core business challenges that role solves or whatever core role that role serves. Help me out here in terms of fleshing out what the benefit to a leader might be on accepting timing rather than continuing to persist with time spent.
I think what you're getting at is really transformative, Alex. By focusing on timing rather than just time spent, leaders can be more strategic and adaptable in their recruiting efforts. They can conserve resources and avoid the frustration of prolonged, unproductive recruiting periods. This mindset shift also encourages creative problem solving, like rethinking roles or redistributing tasks to existing team members until the right candidate emerges. So, to flesh out the benefits, one, resource efficiency. By not wasting time on prolonged recruiting efforts, leaders can allocate resources. Two, strategic positioning. By being alert to external changes like ownership transitions or project shakeups, Leaders can time their recruiting efforts to align with moments when top talent is likely to be looking for new opportunities. 3, flexibility and adaptability. Accepting that the perfect candidate might not be available immediately encourages leaders to be flexible in how they structure roles and responsibilities in the short term. 4, reduce frustration. Recognizing and embracing the unpredictability of talent availability can reduce the stress and frustration that comes with the traditional time-intensive recruiting process. Would you like to add any further insights on how leaders can implement these strategies effectively?
No, I think that's a great place for us to stop for today. Thanks, Tyler.
Sounds good, Alex. Yeah, thanks for sharing those insights. All right, folks, that's a wrap for today. We hope you found this discussion on the nature of time in recruiting valuable. Remember, it's not just about the time spent, but about being there at the right moment. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.